So I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all my review on Love and Marriage Huntsville, the finale, as well as the episode before the finale, because I did not come to y'all with a review on it, and it was not like a whole lot to talk about, but I'll give you the key points. So the episode before the finale, the main points were Melody versus Tisha. I mean, it is what it is. Well, really, kind of Melody versus everybody, huh? Because she can't get along with Martell, Marceau, or Tisha. But they had the voters registration, and that is where there were a few key points in last week's episode. The voters registration, where Tisha and Melody went off to the side to have a conversation, because clearly Martell wasn't there, and Tisha started the conversation off by saying, you know, how about we just leave? Me and you, we've gotten on a good page, on a good foot. How about we just let the men be men, handle it, and be upset over there, and we don't come into it? Well, some kind of way the conversation went from that into Melody accusing Camelso of lying to Tisha, and Tisha saying, no, I've never caught him in a lie. Mel's like, well, in 14 years of marriage, you never caught your husband in a lie? And Tisha was like, no, I've never caught him in a lie. Now, all I'm going to say to this is, kudos to you for never catching your husband in a lie. I'm not going to say that he's never lied. I don't know the man. Also, I just know as human beings, there are times where people lie. Even if it's a white lie, a lie is a lie. So to say that your husband has never lied to you, I think is unfair. However, to say that he doesn't lie about big things, or, you know, like, babe, where'd you go? I just went to the store. But not saying, oh, I went to the store, but I also went to the bar to go hang out with this girl. Like, those are mega lies. Like, that's completely different than just like a little lie. So I'm assuming that she's saying, like, he's never told me like a big lie like that. And Melody, oh, extra shady, but is the one that she'll make comments like that, then she'll look off and she'll laugh and she'll giggle and she does all of that strictly to play on Tisha's insecurities, because by the end of the episode, now Tisha's questioning Marceau, or Camelso. She's questioning him because he made a statement saying that he was lonely, and so now Melody has put that kind of little bug in the back of her head that has Tisha wondering. And I'm sure it's not just Melody. It's Melody, it's her mom, it's me, it's you, it's the people on the internet who always have something to say. And honey, there are people that always have something to say about Camelso and Martell Holt and their infidelities on this here, the internet. So it's starting to wear at her, and it's starting to eat at her, and you're seeing that, honestly, by the end of the finale, you're seeing that it's causing some major rifts in their marriage. Also, from last week's episode, we have where Melody visited the psychologist. I can't remember his name. And they had a very deep conversation. She talked about how she's always been the overachiever, the go-getter. She's always loved to make her family proud, and that she didn't have a relationship with her father. By the end of the therapy session, the therapist, he alludes, or he asks her, you know, if her being this super busy, super motivated person, if that is not doing to her children what she feels her father did to her, which is not be present. And I didn't think that that was a valid comparison. I don't think that's fair. I feel like when men are these, you know, go-getters and overachievers and things like that, it's never seen as a negative thing. It's never seen as, oh, well, you're taking time away from your kids. You know, it's never seen as that. It's just seen as them providing and doing what needs to be done for the household. But when a woman does it, it's as if she can't, you know, be this go-getter and this ambitious person without sacrificing family life. Like, Mel is home. You know, it's not like she's traveling the world to do these things. She's working in Huntsville. You know, the kids go to school, she works. She might get home a little late, but she's still there with her children. I don't think that that was a fair comparison. And to me, it seemed like a projection that the therapist did, speaking on, like, since he already, like, is the counselor for Martell, knowing how Martell feels, it kind of seemed like a projection of Martell's feelings onto Melody, and I don't think that that was fair. I personally didn't like it, and I do like the therapist, but that particular question that he raised, I thought was honestly a little sexist and unfair. My opinion. Then we go and we see again the struggle between Martell and Melody. Martell basically saying that Melody is doing too much, and Melody is saying, you were the main person who wanted me to be this ambitious and do all these things, and now you're trying to tell me that I'm doing too much. That's unfair, and you can't keep yanking me here and there and everywhere. And I agree with Melody. If you are being supportive, or if you were playing the supportive spouse, then you have to be the supportive spouse all the way through. It's unfair that now that things are starting to pop for her, now that you're really seeing that she is handling things without you and on her own, now you want her to pull back. I also do understand Martell saying that you can't be everything to everybody, and that you have to have some type of balance. But again, conversations that me and my husband have. So I say balance is a myth, you know what I'm saying? You'll teeter, you'll totter between the things, but I agree with Melody, you need to strike while the fire's hot. Y'all have this show, you're getting press. Now is the time to capitalize on all of that. That's what you've been working to do. Now is the time to capitalize on it. And Martell, you've had enough time to be out there having a whole side relationship. How about you take the time that you had to spend with some other person and spend it with your kids? I don't think that's unreasonable. But that's basically the highlights of the episode before the finale. Let's get into the finale. The episode starts off with Kimmy cooking dinner. A very nice, I think they were having lamb chops, honey. Oh, I love me some lamb. Lamb is the reason why I can't go pescatarian. Oh, I'm going off on a tangent. Okay, she was making a really good like lamb dinner because Maurice is gone. He's taking the bar. That part of it is over. She's also planned this surprise party to commemorate and celebrate him finishing law school and, you know, taking the bar. And, you know, kind of like a pre-celebration. We don't know if he's passed yet, but she's confident that he did. She seems to be more confident than he is. But either way, it's still an accomplishment to even get to that point, and it should be celebrated. So I'm here for Kimmy and Maurice. While they're sitting at the dinner, Monster is talking about, oh, well, you know, my birthday is coming up, and I just think that like Ricky didn't have to go to school on his birthday, so maybe I shouldn't have to go to school on my birthday. Maurice shut that down with the quickness. No, skipping school is not an option. I appreciate that. You know, education is key. You're coming from a household with college educated parents. Education, I'm sure they're going to put an emphasis on education. And he asked for something else. I can't remember what else he asked for, but all I remember is I wrote down in my notes, Monster out here wilding. Well, whatever he asked for, it was just funny. It was in good fun. They had like a nice little family dinner. Then we see Melody doing a rehearsal for the play, and all I'm gonna say is Melody could not work for Tyler Perry because she ain't know her words, and Tyler don't have that, honey. If you walked onto the Tyler Perry studios like that, you'd have been fired because you need to come in knowing your words. Like, the person on the side is like a lead in. They're supposed to give you like the beginning of the sentence. She had to read you your whole lines for you to half-ass act them back out. Like, it was, that scene to me was extremely cringeworthy. And if you can't remember your lines and if you can't take the time to study and all of that stuff, maybe Martell does have a point in saying that you're doing too much. Because now that you should have already had, I just think. So then we have Tisha talking to Camel Soul about how he was feeling alone and her insecurities in the marriage overall, and that she feels like him expressing these feelings of loneliness and things are going to have them end up like the Holts. In all honesty, I feel like this is them kind of prepping us and getting us ready for when all of the ish hits the fan, because it's brewing and it's going to hit the fan. These are like those little Easter eggs that you're used to seeing in these storylines. First, it starts with the man saying, well, I'm just not feeling loved. And then it's her coming with, well, now I just have doubts and insecurities. Are you out there cheating? And next thing you know, you hear the stories about him being out there cheating. I pray that's not what's gonna happen, but we can all kind of see where this is going. These insecurities that Tisha's talking about did not just start with him recently saying that he's feeling alone and feeling lonely and things like that. She's been had these insecurities, and he's just now verbalizing it to a point where now she can kind of grab onto that and say, well, this is how that makes me feel. In all honesty, I'm sure she's had these same feelings and these same doubts for a long time. And the way that Melody jabs at her and kind of laughs at her, it just, and the way her mom talks, it just all reinforces it. They get into this discussion on the sacrifices that Tisha had to make to be in the marriage. She sacrificed an internship, and you know, she decided to be a stay-at-home mom and not necessarily go and do her dreams and her goals for the relationship, and Camel So not really seeming to care about those sacrifices and things. And that, to me, that is a slippery slope to go down when you start talking about sacrifices that one person made in a relationship versus another, because in the grand scheme of things in a relationship, there's always going to be some give and take. You know, there are going to be times where I sacrifice for him, there will be times that he sacrifices for me. But if you are constantly sitting up here with the tally sheet of, well, this is me sacrificing again, this is me sacrificing again, this is me sacrificing again, you know, to me that starts to build and foster resentment. It shouldn't be, well, I had to do all of these sacrifices to be here. It should be, we got to this point together with give and take. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and act all holier than thou and be like I haven't had conversations like that within my own marriage. Because, I mean, in all honesty, those are conversations that's like, well, I couldn't do this, this, and this because of this, this, and that, you know. Those are real conversations. However, in the way that they were already on outs, it's just adding more fuel to the fire as to building into her the resentment and the insecurities. And also for him, he doesn't feel like that Tisha is the woman that he married. And I say to Camel So, honey, get over it. Like, you shouldn't want to be, y'all have been married for 14 years. I guess y'all been married for 14 years. I'm going to say y'all been together for at least 15. She's not married to the person that she got with 15 years ago, and you aren't either. If you are the same person that you were 15 years ago, you've wasted 15 years of your life. And y'all should be able to grow and grow and mold and learn together through all of this. And you should, my opinion, he should want Tisha to be fulfilled and be out here getting it, and you know, all of this kind of stuff. But it's like, it's one of those things too where how you get them is how you keep them. You know, that's an old person's saying. So if you were the daughter and he didn't have to think about anything, that's the precedent that you started with the marriage. It's going to be really hard to change that 15 years down the line. Not saying that it can't be done, but it is going to be hard to do. So to completely change the dynamic. And I don't even think she's trying to completely change the dynamic. I just think she wants to add something to it. And he's being so hesitant and resistant because it threatens his kind of control over her in the household. That's my opinion. If y'all disagree, drop down in the comments. We can discuss it. If you agree, same thing. Then the next scene we see is Melody getting ready for the surprise party. And Martell comes in and basically says, I'm not going. Now, I get it. You don't want to be fake and phony and all of this kind of stuff, but you are kind of on the show. You can't just not go to every event. Now, if this was a Camel So event, a Tisha and Camel So event, then sure. Not going, completely understand. But now this is the second event that we're not hosted by that Scott couple that you're not going to. You don't have to speak to them. Y'all can be in the same room and you don't have to interact with them. Like, that is called being cordial. That's called being an adult. That's not called being fake. And Melody basically says that. And then we also they have like some back and forth, and it's at this point that you can see that they're still just putting on fronts for the cameras. Like, this marriage, in my opinion, it was over by this point. Melody was making slick comments like, well, you've never done anything for me in the 12 years we've been married. You've never done anything for me. She also talked about how, oh, you were in the room, you had a meeting with Kimmy by yourselves. I mean, she's always Team Martell. She's always rubbing on you. Like, since when have you had an issue with Kimmy and Martell being friends? You know, it's just like she was jabbing at him. Not, you know, she was just jabbing at him and just trying to fuss, it almost seemed. And he was just not really going back and forth with her. Like I said, at that point you can see that she's a woman scorned. She's just counting the days till filming is over with so that she can go, and she was just kind of saying anything she could to try to tick Martell off, and he just was not taking the bait. So we finally get to Maurice's surprise party. Surprise! He was shocked, he was confused, but he was also happy, and it was cute. Side note, hate Kimmy's hair in this episode, hate the bob. I love a good asymmetrical, exaggerated bob, but it didn't have enough layering in it. The back was really bulky, and it was almost like the front was too long. If you're going to do that type of a slope, you need it to be like like, I don't know, it didn't look good. I'm sorry. And normally I really like Kimmy and Kimmy's hair, but that bob was a definite no for me. So at the party, Camel Soul and Andrea the architect are discussing Destiny's plans for the renovation of her little salon suite. They talk about how the budget was not a big enough budget, especially not for the timeline in which she wanted to have everything completed. And so somewhere in there, so while Andrea and Marceau are discussing, I guess, the plans and all of that kind of stuff, and discussing the budget, Destiny comes up. She says her ears are burning, which in other words means the producers are like, okay, now you go into the conversation. That was basically, like, this whole conversation was like, producers, okay, now your turn, jump in. Okay, Melody, your turn, jump in. Okay, Tisha, all right, now go. Like, that was, it was a heavily produced conversation, and you can tell it was a heavily produced conversation because it was like, how is it turning this left? Like, I don't understand. I was so confused at trying to follow the conversation. I don't know if it was like because of the editing or what, but I was so confused. If y'all know how it turned to what it turned into, drop down in the comments. But Destiny, she comes up with a little attitude like, well, my ears are burning, what are y'all talking about? And Marceau basically goes around the mulberry bush. Really all it had to be was Marceau saying, look, I don't like how you're trying to like make me bid against the hosts. The hosts don't even do commercial construction. So you know what, I'm just going to step away from it and let you pick who you pick and let y'all have it. On top of that, this ain't enough of a budget for me to be stressing about your project. I mean, that's really what it was. That's really how he felt, and that's really all he had to say. But it turned into him talking about how he would mentor the hosts or something, or mentor other black contractors. I don't know. It was really I don't know how we got there. By this time, Melody, she walks up, and Melody is not here for any of it. She's like, mentor who? If we wanted a mentor, it wouldn't be you. I appreciate the bluntness of that statement. I appreciate the straightforwardness of that, especially when it's really Marceau over here trying to be shady but failing in a way, trying to be classy and shady at the same time but failing. And Melody was calling him out with every turn, like, no, what you're not gonna do is play with me and play with us as if we need you for anything, as if we need you to mentor us, as if we need you to give us a job. How about you finish the jobs that you have? How about you get done with some construction that you already got going on? Now that was shady, and by this time Tisha's in, and Tisha's oh, that's that shady male that we want. But let's be clear, Tisha. Melody did not start the shadiness of that conversation. Marceau started the shadiness of that conversation. And he is the reason why it went left, because you're talking about things that don't even make sense. Like, all you literally had to say was, yeah, I gave Destiny a bid. Her budget is a little low for me, and she has some other people looking into it, so you know, I don't think it's gonna work out for me and her, and just call it a day. Even Andrea, the architect, was just like, I don't know how we got here. It was such a confusing conversation. And again, it goes into the host. Like, one thing about it, even if they are not on one accord, out in public, they put on. And Melody puts on for her husband in his absence. So he might not have been there, but his presence was still felt. The show ends with Tisha and Camuso having a conversation about her having to go to, I think, Birmingham to speak for an event. Her and these events. And Camuso basically saying that he didn't know anything about this, and that maybe Tisha was like, well, do we need to do like Destiny and La Bum Bum and sync our schedules? And of course, Martell is like, no. I mean, not Martell. Camuso was like, no. There was like a confessional scene where she said something about, well, give me your phone, I'll sync it now. He was like, no, my phone's dead. It's dead. These are all little things, like all little things that we all as people see is him basically admitting to cheating. Like, I don't want to wish the worst on their relationship, but if you already have had rumors come out about you cheating, if that's already the underlying talk, why do you keep making comments that do nothing but further fuel those rumors? Whether you're doing it intentionally or subliminally, it is fueling the fire. In this conversation, he also makes a little slick comment talking about, well, he'll just get a young babysitter. What did he say? Oh, let me see. Yeah, he said a nice young babysitter. That ticked me off. If I was in that conversation, that would have sent me through the roof. That ticked me off so bad. What you're not going to do is joke about getting some babysitter because I'm trying to go out here and work and again, strike while the fire is hot. It seems to me that all of the men on this show, sans Maurice, will get, you know, I'm not going to say Maurice, but Martell and Marceau for sure. It seems that that their egos are so big, and they have such, it's such little man pride, as if their women being great is in some kind of a way taking away from their manliness and their being and who they are. It's extremely sickening to watch, to be honest with you. Like, because we're in a new day and age where a lot of women are not just content being house moms or housewives and stay-at-home moms, and there's nothing wrong with that. Technically, I am a housewife and a stay-at-home mom right now, so there's nothing wrong with that. However, we're in a time where that's just not it. You have these women on these reality shows. They're on these reality shows to get exposure. They're on these reality shows to gain a fan base, to make their money, to get to the bag. You know how they say little man complex? That's not just for people that are short. It can also be for these men who think that they are these grandiose things, but for some reason their women having their own identities belittles them in some type of way. It's very, very sickening to me. And to see him say that to her after in two scenes before we saw her open up and be vulnerable about her insecurities, about him feeling lonely, then to sit up here and be like, oh, well, I get a nice young babysitter, that was disrespectful. That would have sent me to the moon, I'm telling you. Then he continues on and makes so then the event gets canceled, and so she goes, well, I'm already packed, I already made a plan to go up there, I'll just go and visit my family, do you want to come? And he says no, and he also goes on to make a comment to say that, well, me and your family never really got along, and we're from two sides of the track. She goes, wait, what do you mean by two different sides of the track? What do you mean by that? And he goes, we just grew up differently. Now, I'm going to say this. Don't play on our intelligence, Camel Soul. And see, he does that with Tisha a lot. And Tisha's not dumb, but he does it with her a lot. Tries to play on her intelligence. And I think he actually won in this one. Because he goes, well, I just meant we come from two different things. And she goes on and talks about how, first of all, we all know the connotation of different side of the tracks. It legitimately goes to redlining. That's where that kind of what is it? It's not a colloquialism. That metaphor or whatever. That's where it comes from. It comes from redlining. It comes from legitimately when you cross the tracks of any like kind of rural type of town and city and things like that. Once you cross those tracks, there's one side of the tracks that is where the white people stayed, that, you know, had higher property values. Not even that it was affluent, but it was better kept and all these type of things. You cross the tracks and there goes the projects. There goes where the black people stay. There goes where property values are low. Housing is sucky. Schooling is sucky. That is where that expression comes from. And so you being an intelligent man, her being an intelligent woman, and you trying to play on us like we stupid. We all know what the connotation was when you said it. You said it to say that Tisha's family is here and you were here. He goes on to explain, no, I'm not saying that, just as how you take it. You know, at one point I was homeless and this, that, and the third. And Tisha goes on to talk about how, you know, she was picked on for living in the projects and all of this kind of stuff. And this is your husband of 14 years. He knows your buttons. He knows what and how to say what and how, you know, in order to piss you off. He already knows that. He already knows that that's enough. So he in this conversation has shown you twice how he intentionally plays on Tisha's insecurities. One, talking about having a nice young babysitter, and two, throwing up how they're from different sides of the tracks. Then he goes on and flips the script like two can play that game. He flips the script, a transference of energy, and now he's like, I can't believe you think that's what I would say to you. And he gets this whole self-righteous tone and belittles the feelings that he inflicted onto Tisha. And this is how the season ends. That it's ridiculous. It takes me to the roof. I was so mad watching that. And Tisha, by the end of it, she was just like, yeah, okay, you know. And he knows what he's doing. That was extremely manipulative. It was like gaslighting at its finest. That was like the perfect example of gaslighting, and it pissed me off, y'all. I am so not here for Camel Soul. I am so not here. He is my least favorite husband on the franchise, even less than Martell. And I didn't think you can get my least favorite than Martell. The more we see Camel Soul interact with Tisha, the more I truly dislike him. And I don't wish bad on anyone's marriage. However, what we're seeing is unhealthy, and it will not be able to sustain under the microscope of reality TV. It just won't. It is what it is. Y'all drop down in the comments and tell me what you think. Also, don't forget to join my Patreon. The link is down in the description box. You get early access to my videos and a whole host of other custom content for as little as $5 a month. You can click that. And that's it for Love and Marriage Huntsville, you guys. I hope it comes back after the Rona, because I mean, this was only like maybe 8 episodes, and I think they had to shut down production because of the Rona. So we'll definitely get some more, but whenever we get open again. Since then, we are aware that Melody has officially filed for divorce and has moved to Atlanta. So I'm happy for her. She got a backbone. She got up and she moved. Her Embrace line, if you go to look for it online, nothing is being sold, and she's strategically not selling anything so that Martell doesn't have any way of getting any of that money. You know, Really, that's what it is. I'll leave y'all a link if you're interested. I'll leave a link to her live where she kind of alludes to that down below. Kimmy and Maurice, as far as I know, are still doing great. They recently celebrated their anniversary. And Marceau and Tisha, Marceau is on the internet really just trying to defend himself and really trying to gaslight the viewers, and I don't think that is right. And I pray that they figure it out, but they need to go to counseling. But the type of guy that Marceau seems to be, I don't think that's gonna happen. So, you know, it is what it is. That's it, you guys. That's it for Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm finna jump off of here because I have even more to talk about. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let's get this discussion started down below. Peace.